Good morning, everyone. It is with immense pride and excitement that we welcome you all to Neev 2026, Chapter 2, the Startup Conclave at IIM Kashipur. Neev, which translates to foundation, represents exactly what this platform stands for: building the foundation of ideas, innovation, and leadership that power the startup ecosystem of tomorrow. Neev is not just an event, it is a confluence of founders, operators, technologists, and the future leaders, all coming together to exchange insights, challenge conventional thinking, and shape the next generation of entrepreneurial talent. At IIM Kashipur, we have always believed that learning goes beyond classrooms. Through initiatives like Neev, we aim to bridge the gap between industry and academia, enabling our students to interact with the people who are actively building and scaling India's startup landscape. Let us now quickly enjoy a short introductory video of IIM Kashipur.
The Indian Institute of Management Kashipur is the second generation IIM set by the Government of India in 2011. In all these years, the institute stands true to its vision and mission. Our vision is to be an institute of eminence that fosters management research and education and develops leaders for creating positive societal impact in a changing world. And the mission of IIM Kashipur is to create and disseminate knowledge through applied and interdisciplinary research and practices in emerging areas of management. IIM Kashipur is committed to its four core values of collegiality, transparency, great consciousness, and proactive engagement with all the stakeholders. IIM Kashipur has a sprawling campus of 200 acres, situated in one of the most beautiful locations in India. The lush green campus is nested in the lap of the Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. The institute enjoys the nearby industrial belt, having more than 180 ventures. This strategic geographical positioning provides a vantage point for IIM Kashipur when it comes to learning by doing through regular industry interaction and live projects. IIM Kashipur is equipped with all the modern facilities ranging from the technologically advanced classrooms to hostels, providing all the amenities and infrastructure such as gymnasium, library, amphitheater, other sports facilities, and shops for daily requirements. The Institute offers various programs that are MBA Analytics, Executive MBA, Management Development Program, PhD, and Executive MBA Analytics. We have continuously looked to cater to what the industry demanded. The latest edition of MBA Analytics in January 2020 in our course offerings is a testament to that. Our executive MBA program at Dehradun campus has kept abreast with the evolving trends at institutions such as first generation IIMs. IIM Kashipur has a mix of permanent and visiting faculty to offer a holistic learning experience in various domains. There are 40 plus permanent faculties who are some of the best professors and research minds. The Institute has also been able to bring in subject matter experts from leading companies and other institutions as visiting faculties to equip the students with the best industry practices and perspectives. The Institute has established four centers of excellence that are Center of Excellence on Public Policy and Government, Design Innovation Center, Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development. Trade is a startup incubation center at IIM Kashipur, operating since 2018. In the last 6 years, we have supported more than 200 startups in starting a new business and scaling up their existing solution. IIM Kashipur, a completely student-driven campus, from basements to functional work, From academic to non-academic activities, there is a student body for each discipline. Being a part of such student bodies and event-specific teams, students get first-hand experience of time management, working in a team, situation handling, and managing positive relationships with the administration. IIM Kashipur has secured several ties with leading management institutes across the world, including Spain, France, Denmark, Greece, Israel, South Korea, Thailand, UK, Thailand, and many more. IIM Kashipur also offers the short-term exchange program, STEAMED. We are indebted to our students and alumni for maintaining the legacy of the Institute. With their determination, we have been granted the reputed Equus AACSB membership. We aim to achieve new heights with every new batch of students. We celebrate the ups and downs of the journey of our beloved students and would like to wish them luck for upcoming years.
Like to inform you that this event is being live streamed on all our social media handles and on YouTube. Today, we have among us Professor Somnath, Senior Faculty of Marketing and Placement Chairperson, Professor Deepak Sir, here with us today. This year's theme, Startup Talent Wars, attracting, retaining, and empowering Gen Z and Gen Alpha, captures one of the most pressing challenges of today's startup ecosystem. While capital, technology, and markets evolve rapidly, talent has emerged as a true competitive advantage. Startups today are not just competing for customers, they're competing for people, skills, and mindsets. And with the Gen Z and Gen Alpha entering the workforce with new expectations, seeking purpose, ownership, flexibility, and rapid growth, organizations must rethink how they hire, engage, and empower their teams. Today's conclave aims to explore exactly that, how startups can build future ready, high performance, and people first cultures.
Moving on to our panelist introductions, we are pleased to introduce Mr. Mukil Vannan, the founder of Kplor. Mr. Mukil is the founder of Kplor, an AI platform that converts text into high-quality explainer videos at scale, enabling fast and more cost-efficient learning. Kplor works with government bodies, leading IITs, and multiple edtech platforms, serving over 25 institutions across education and enterprise learning. Backed by the government of Karnataka, the company operates as a profitable and bootstrapped venture. With experience across strategy, consulting, decision science, and revenue strategy in high-growth startups, Mr. Mukil brings a unique lens on AI, learning, and scalable innovation. We are privileged and distinguished to have him as a panelist with us here today. We now request Professor Deepak, Chairperson of Placements, to present a welcome bouquet to sir.
We are now delighted to introduce Mr. Harsh Kumar Sarohi, Senior Vice President of Technology, TradeIndia. Mr. Harsh is a seasoned technology leader with over 13 years of experience in building and scaling large digital platforms serving millions of users. Having played key roles at startups like Doubtnut and Fab Hotels through their early growth and funding stages, he specializes in linking engineering decisions to real business outcomes. Currently, leading the entire technology function at TradeIndia, Mr. Harsh drives profitability, scalability, AI adoption, and operational excellence. We are honored to welcome sir. I request Professor Deepak sir to kindly welcome him with a bouquet.
nice feeling today. So we are starting this conversation at a point where there are, the market. I don't know how aware you guys are about the market today. Uh, Pardon? It's the audio, is it?
I think somebody's on the call, I guess.
Sure, right? We can go ahead. Yeah. So there are massive layoffs, news of layoffs, especially in the tech industry that you might be hearing these days. And it's not for, and a lot of it is due to productivity gains that we have been observing with AI coming in. And it need not be productivity gains really for a company, but many of the C-suits have taken a bet that AI will give us returns, and they've invested capex a couple of years ago, and they were expecting that it will come. And irrespective of whether it comes or not, now they have to lay off. And they have, because almost for all companies, one of the biggest overheads is infra and then overheads. So, me coming from a budgeting point of view, I always look at it that way. So that is why many of these layoffs are happening. And it is not only this theme. The theme is that fundings have dried up for many of the startups today. A lot of bearish news all across the market. And we don't know where we are headed, but then there are very good bright spots and new opportunities that are starting for us in the startup space today. And talking about talent, and which is anyways we have to discuss in detail today. We'll hear from the leaders of how this talent is important today, and for taking this whole AI age ahead. India did great in the SaaS side, IT services side. GCC is doing well. These teams are good, but then what is the way ahead? Let's hear from the leaders today. Starting the conversation, Mrs. Arora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is something that you have felt is something that is being misunderstood while hiring talent for high growth startup companies these days?
So there definitely is a mismatch with conventional thinking for people like us who have, worked, and the new generation which is coming in. So they are looking for more flexibility, whereas the conventional thought for people like us is more of office, more of discipline. Why we say that is that you are required to do human interaction. Working from home is something that will be individual development, but when you come to the office, you interact with people, you know the issues, you know the personal problem people are facing. There are a lot of challenges around both personal and professional that people are facing. So at home, you cannot learn how to deal with them. Whereas in the office, you get a chance of interaction, and that makes you a better person, better leader, more empathy, which is probably missing because of the flexibility that the new generation is asking. Also, I feel that you need to little bit move away from the social media. Not everything is right. Whatever you are hearing, this concept of fire and work-life balance. Initially, we have to slog. Everyone has to slog. Everyone has to be in the field to understand what is happening at the client level. So some changes, I think we need to balance out understanding you, and you have to understand us. So that's where the challenge lies in today's time.
Interesting. And you spoke about fire and work-life balance. I still remember maybe in 2022-21 when the post-COVID IT boom happened, people were like, yeah, like we have made it, you can retire 45. But sitting in 2026, do you really think that fire is possible today, at least in the IT industry and in startup setups?
Yeah, I mean, see, it is possible. I mean, the, what is very important for leaders to understand is that the context that you create in the company. So there is a very popular a speech by Professor Sumant Gosali. I don't know. You might have heard of that World Economic Forum where he says he compares two environments, right? He compares about where he used to live in Florida, the forest in Florida versus downtown Calcutta, right? Where he says that if you put someone in that forest, he would like to jump, he would like to move, he would like to do a lot of things, right? And if you go same person, you put them in Calcutta, downtown South Calcutta in summer, he will be lazy, he will be impatient.
Understood.
Right? The context you create is very important. The environment you create for them is very important. So for organizations to, to understand them and to, you have to architect the organization well. Right? So I come from a company which has been business from last 35 years. So me as a millennial and the senior boss, they used to think the same way. Right? They always had that basic challenges. Right? Freedom for work. Everybody needs freedom for work. Everybody needs autonomy, right? So whatever it is, like the initial generation will think that these guys are school, millennials are school. Millennials will think Gen Zs are school.
So I guess the students can also relate, right? Like the seniors always dissing about juniors, you guys are not as good. And it's always keeps happening. And this is gonna repeat in your corporate as well, because the generations who are in their 50s and 60s today, they will still look at the new generation and say, what are you guys?
So it is very important to create that environment. So you need to unlearn a lot of things as a leader, right? So, and they also need to, anyone has watched that movie, Thinking in Turn. It's a very nice movie. Hello. Yeah, so if anyone has watched the movie Thinking in Turn.
Come on, guys, movie club.
Okay, so then in the movie, what happens is there is a senior guy, 60-year-old, and they put it with an intern. And then they'll eventually they meet in the middle. Like initially they fight a lot and all those kind of things happen. But at one point of time they meet in the middle and they work with us. There's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen from senior folks, and there's a lot of learning that they need to take from the Gen Zs as well. Correct? And same is the case with Gen Zs. So you need to find a middle ground.
Got it. But yeah, coming back to the larger theme, Mukil, today with all this that is happening, if you're from IIM Indore, if I say, okay, if you are graduating from an IIM today, okay, what are the things that you'll be really anxious about?
Yeah, so for that, there are a lot of phases that if you guys want to look up your ties, feel free to do that. Take off your blazers, all of your sleeves. Please be comfortable, right? Because I've been there, I know how difficult these things are. Yeah, to answer the question, like when I graduated 5 years back, I thought I was really good at doing like that. So,
Okay. Can you share this mic?
Yeah, sure. So back when I graduated, I thought tools like Tableau, Power BI, or even being very proficient in Excel, writing Excel formulas instantly was a big skill. And I did brag about it in my CVs, and that's what the interviews are always about. That's pretty much why I got my first job in consulting, because I wanted people who could use these tools to build visualizations for clients. 2 years I did that, and then even prior to my MBA, I was fully focused on these tools, Qualtrics and all these kinds of tools were kind of what we thought was going to be the huge value. Once AI kicked in, all these tools became completely irrelevant. I mean, you do use these tools, you don't need to know how to code on, code to write some a SQL query is not required anymore. You don't have to learn how to build a donut chart in a Tableau, right? It's a little tricky. I mean, folks who use Tableau would know about it. It's not very straightforward. But now with AI in place, all those things are super easy. Same thing goes with Excel, right? Writing a very complicated formula was taking a lot of time to think, and the sort of aptitude and analytical thinking comes into the picture, but none of that is relevant. So what I'm trying to say is, if you guys are too focused on a particular tool and you guys become extremely proficient in it, be vigilant that anytime that tool can be out of market and there could be something else that's going to replace it. So being very glued on to a particular tool or a particular programming language as well, it's going to be very difficult to pivot at a later stage. Because I know a lot of people who have been very skilled Tableau, Power BI, tab developers who could actually write in DAX coding and they were used to do all these fancy visualizations. Right now, none of those matters. Anybody can build a kick-ass dashboard and like instantly, and that's how things are changing. So if you guys have to focus on it, I would say you always look at capabilities and skills that compounds over a period of time. Very difficult skills are stakeholder management. That's a very nice thing. Everybody probably has it in a resume, but imagine if you have to probably you're a new joining a company and the task is to go as a head of sales who has like over 20 years of experience, that your targets were X last month, this month you have to do 2X. That guy is gonna lash at you, he's gonna shout at you, but how do you convince that person to take up that target? Is basically stakeholder management. That's how communication works. So those are the skill sets that you need to do. That's something that obviously you will pick it up over a period of time, but you need to start somewhere. So I think very strong communication skills and negotiation power is where you guys need to focus on. Because what is Gemini is nothing but a word predictor, it's just a probability model. So if you guys are probably too dependent on that, then it would be very difficult. You can't ask the AI to convince a very senior person on, you have to do this or that. So focus on such skills that you feel that is going to have value in the long run. I think that's what I would focus on if I was in a recent graduate, and I would be super anxious at the same time because we don't know what's going to change at any particular time, which sector to focus on, right? Every sector is getting revolutionized by AI. The recent A16Z report, I'm not sure if you have seen, their entire theme has changed. Last year it was into AI in consumers, but all its stuff, the foundation there, AI in manufacturing, AI in semiconductors, and AI in digital digital towers and everything. So that sector itself is rapidly changing. So obviously I would be super anxious what our recruiter is going to look at and what on a longer run will I be redundant in a period of time, right? I could probably get into this job, which is probably high paying right now. But 5 years down the line, will this job even make sense? So the fear that I would have. So yeah, I'll definitely focus on these skill sets, soft skills that it's really valuable.
Understood. Yeah, but what I understand from you, Mukil, is that you're saying rather than looking at hard tools, you're saying look at first principles thinking. Second is improve your sense of judgment and conviction. Have I summarized it right?
Perfect, yeah.
Awesome. So that being said, in your view, what should a fresh MBA optimize for in their first role? Brand, learning, or is it for the money or the speed of ownership?
I'll be very candid here. That's kind of all, everything boils down to money, right? We all choose that, yeah. So definitely go for a good high-paying job that has a good fixed component, not the entire resource and other stuff. So because it's in a longer run, it's always when being very practical, you're not giving you a low answer, but when you go for another job, they always look at your previous salary and you get an X percentage on that. So yes, that does matter a lot. At the same time, look for a very good brand as well. That's always gonna we don't have to explain what the company does to someone. That's a lot of value. Finally, there's a role, obviously, but most of you are maybe at a very early stage, you don't get a very fancy role. The role can be called anything, right? It can be called as 20 years back, business analyst was the most glamorous role. 10 years back, it was anything that had to do with the word strategy. People just had a strategy everywhere, HR strategy, sales strategy, so that was more glamorous. Now it's founder's office, premium marketing planning for the role, but yeah. So these roles are very, choose the most glamorous role, so people think that's kind of relevant. Most of your work in the initial few years is going to be a lot of grunt work. 90% of the work that you do will be grunt, very boring. 10% is where you get challenging work. So your role and learning will be kind of limited in the initial years. You choose things that's kind of easy to explain to people and which is more quantifiable. Because sometimes what happens is I've seen this where very young talent go to some early stage startups and they might have worked on some really interesting projects, but it becomes very difficult to convince another recruiter that you actually did this. People would immediately question your age and kind of work and think that you probably wouldn't have done this. So it's better to choose quantifiable skills. That's your pay, number one. Number two is a brand, a very good logos, very, very important when you're resume at an early stage. And because that has the foundation, and then you can take this by joining very early stage jobs. The third would be is the role that you're going to look for.
Understood. So Sumit, from your experience so far, But what are the reasons then? What is the one thing, be it money or growth? What is it that students and who are coming in fresh into the industry they are optimizing for?
Good morning to you. So basically, I have been actually an HR expert and I have been interacting with all the students and Gen Zs in particular. We have hired Gen Zs the last year as well. And before that also we have got Gen Zs in very, very critical positions.
Do we have a choice?
No, we have a choice.
Is it?
Even you can't undermine the millennials as well.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel Gen Zs have got a lot of potential. Even our strategy head is also a Gen Z.
Mhm.
But what I find is that with respect to their technological improvement and development, what they are doing right now, and with AI focus coming on, I feel they have got a greater role to play in the coming years. And particularly also, I feel a set of reverse mentoring is required as such, because you have to give them the voice. Right now, what is happening is that we have scheduled just a sort of general explanation for them that they are unstable in their careers, they will move out very fast, say in 3 months, 6 months, or even 1 year. I don't agree with that in particularly. I find them very, very focused. They are having that blend, analytical blend, in fact. And that is very much required in any environment. As you all must be knowing that we are operating in a VUCA world. That is, you must be aware of that.
Yeah.
All of us are aware of that. So particularly with respect to having that sense of operating in that complex environment and how Gen Zs are coping in with that, it's admirable. But at the same time, as an HR and as an for the startups also, I feel that they have to in fact implement the policy changes that is more suitable for the Gen Zs, particularly with respect to having employee-friendly policies for them. Like you talked about the work-life balance. I fully agree with that. Basically, what is required is that you should forget about that culture of 9 to 5. It's not, it's a culture of the past. That's a traditional one. Definitely, it's being followed in the manufacturing setups as well. But with Gen Zs, that needs to be focused is that they are more inclined towards the project-based assignments. And that is one of the important aspects, I feel. So I, in particular, feel that we as a startup or as a company have got a role to play in having their longer term stay in the companies. There is, we cannot stereotype them with respect to that they are actually just moving from unstable in their careers or so. Everybody is having their own admiration, their own aspirations. That needs to be, I mean, understood.
Understood. Yeah. But again, so when there is another observation that we have always seen, like there are a lot of this new generation of people. You touched upon the right things that maybe the policies have gotten a little old, maybe, but the retention has been a big issue these days, and especially the newer generation. But how are industries changing, and what are the actions and levers that they have today to retain talent?
Yes, that's a very good question. In fact, I would agree with you that retention is one of the important aspects. Coming from the manufacturing environment also, in fact, I have seen many companies struggling with high attritions in their areas. But particularly in order to retain this workforce, in order to nurture them, I feel that you have to give them some space, some flexible workspace as such needs to be provided to them. You can start with like hybrid work environments for them. So that is one of the important aspects right now. As I told you, 9 to 5 is it's a traditional one.
Yeah.
Now we have to focus on getting the things done from them in a proper frame as such. So that is very much required. I feel that we have to nurture them, we have to guide them as such, and we have to, first of all, recognize them. That is very much important. You cannot have a say that, he or she will be moving out in 6 months or they are unstable. No, not like that. We cannot stereotype that. So that is very much required as such.
Understood. And I guess since you're a subject matter expert here with the new labor codes kicking in.
Yeah.
What is the government doing right now? Maybe if you can give us a little background around that.
Yeah, so labor codes have been a more healthier trend right now. We
Okay.
have
central rules have been framed, and with respect to the state subjects, it is going to be very implemented with effect from April onwards. Even though 21st November is the date, that it will be proactive, retroactively from 21st it will be protected. So Labor Code has understood this practice of that exploitation of employees or workers will not be tolerated.
Yeah.
So that's a very healthy trend seen by the governments, and they have understood this fact. And it was a long due. In fact, I can tell you, it was anticipated that 45 years back, this should have been implemented.
Yeah.
But it has come now as such. And we are of the view that many of the companies will be following it and implementing it. And they have got no other choice. They have to do it.
Yeah, true. I can share some thoughts about that. So back then when I was studying here in 2019, like I had this paper named Industrial Relations. Professor A.V. Raman took that paper, and back then we were studying about the new labor codes. It's 6 years down the line. Right now it's getting implemented. So you know how slow the government moves, isn't it? Okay. But maybe, ma'am, can you tell us, we are looking at hiring startups for startups and talent from across the world. What is that one common problem in the CVs that worries you?
It's obviously the job change that is happening. It's too frequent. So in the past, we used to look at stability. If the person is stable, then we will hire, because when you hire, you invest a lot of time training these people, and you expect at least that they should be with you for another 2-3 years. But that job hopping is happening. I would say it's related to how passionate Gen Z is. The energy level that they bring to the office is really high. For us to manage Gen Z, as Sir said, we have to change our mindset. They are more project based, and since they know technology, AI much better than anyone else in the organization, they are very quick at work. Now they look at the next challenge, but we are not ready to provide them the next assignment. So there is some gap that is happening, some balancing that needs to be done at the senior level as well, where we are ready to accept you and move that faster, which we are not actually prepared for.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I see, because I have 2 daughters and they are also Gen Z, and I see them very focused on what they want to do. Even if it means less money, they are okay with it, but then they want challenge.
Yeah.
So I discussed both. One is a psychologist and one is doing some biomedical engineering. And to the second one, I told that, why don't you do AI, because that's the future. And she says, no, I'm passionate about biology. Even if I get a lower package, I'm okay. But then I want to work in that field and develop something. So the time has changed, where you guys are looking at, we were looking at money, and we were not sure as to what we wanted to do. We just got into the job market and then started figuring out. Gen Z knows what they want to do, and that's probably the imbalance, that we think that you get into the job market, you will figure out nothing is planned, but these guys are more planned. And so then there is a conflict between us, that are planning nahi hota, and you are like planning hota, and then that is what you are trying to prove to us. And I think the energy thing, we need to still learn how to balance, and how to keep you in the organization so that you perform better.
Interesting. But yeah, how beautiful it is. You have put it well put, ma'am. Just an observation, when you were talking about it, I thought, okay, in a very stable world, people were a lot more flexible. And in a VUCA world like what it is today, people have a clear plan these days. That's a complete mismatch. Do you agree, Harsh? That, is it like, what is that something that really worries you when you look at it, when you read a CV today?
Not exactly read a CE, but see, I'll tell you from my experience. I also did a lot of switching, right?
Same. Ma'am wouldn't hire me, but it's
I have 30 years of experience, 13 plus years of experience. I have switched 6 companies, right? But what worries me is, like you talked about, people skills. They're lagging a bit on that, right? So, and for me as a leader, right? I think like there is a lot of coaching that I need to provide them. You cannot control them. For us, it was like this is the time you need to come and there's ये करने के लिए you like earlier like people were like bosses, right? And now you need to be coach to them. So I'll tell you a story. Short story. I had a product guy, right? He's from some IIM, not with the institution. So we put him on search. Yeah, you need to improve the search of the website. And after a week or two, he comes to me and he says, like, I want to design. And I said, why? He said, I'm not able to make an impact in your company. So they have that, they want to do valuable work that fast, and you need to coach them well. You need to provide them that clarity upfront, right? This is their meaningful work, right? And they are not impatient. They are just, they need to understand the value of work. You need to provide them a lot of clarity and purpose. It's also like she clearly said, it's not about the money. It's more about the coaching that you provide them. So I think there's a lot of what I personally see when I interview them, a lot of coaching is needed.
Understood.
At my level, at the leadership level. And that is what I like to address them, like talking to them. So what is happening? What you need to realize is it's not about the technology, right? So currently I'm in a very senior role. I started as a developer, right? It is more about the people, right? So you could go to X level with the hard skills. After that, you need to think in terms of people and processes, right? So if you start thinking about people, you need to think empathetically, like soft skills that you need to build, like you need to understand the people as well. Let it be any piece of technology you can put, but it won't fly, right? Until unless people and processes are there. Right processes, right people skills are not there, then I think could go till X. After that, the journey will be hard.
Interesting. So maybe, yeah, following up to what Harsh said, Mukil, maybe if might be a lot more relevant for our students here who would be, joining the corporate very soon. So all being said, what are the problems in the CV and all that we discussed? But how do they stand out? And how would, from your point of view, how can they stand out in the first year? In the initial for years in their career, what are the important things that leadership observes that they need to, show?
Got it. So yeah, we also do hiring mainly for tech roles, and we do a lot of campuses, and we hire freshers, and even in these schools when we look at the CVs, there's absolutely not a lot of difference between each student in the batch. Apart from the GPA, we don't see anything else being changed. Everybody would have worked on the same academic project because it's a group project. People have POs, it could be some prep com, it could be some needs, it could be something else. And then extracurriculars, whatever we see it's a pretty much like a photocopy of just 400 different resumes with just names being changed. I'm not demeaning anyone, they obviously put a lot of effort into it, but from a recruiter's lens, it becomes very difficult to choose A versus B. Then we feel that both of them are very similar to it, because we don't know the communication skills and other attitudes on my resume. It becomes very, very difficult. So I think it's once they get into a job and once they start working, I think it is about how you stand out of the crowd, what you should probably look, people know what others are doing and then do something that's different from what they're doing. Like my batchmates, all these school folks, few of them who all of them graduated 5-6 years back. Now they started doing a lot of certifications in AI. They started going back to Python classes. They are learning Python. People with PhD degrees in UG are doing statistics and calculus right now. So they want to stay out of the crowd. I mean, away from the crowd. Because I mean, data science was the cool thing 10 years back. So now it's AI and it's evolving rapidly. If you don't know what is gradient descent, if you don't know what is a vector DB, it's pretty much out of market. Like every team has a target with an AI metric. So every CTO and every startup has this target that X percentage of your code should be written by AI. So if you are a product manager managing any sort of tech angle, you need to know how AI works. You're not just at a very high level saying that, yeah, I know ChatGPT and Gemini. You need to know that I know why this AI is bad, this is hallucination is bad, what is top here, what is the nucleus of this model, what is temperature. At least those level parameters, which is pretty easy to learn. So I would say go back to that particular angle which you see nobody else is doing. So that's difficult. Do the difficult things. The Eat the Frog was do the most difficult things, which is to learn. Like I think some instead of unlearn. Do learn statistics, and I feel that's a very big skill that a lot of people always ignore. And it is very difficult. Like it's not just mean median mode, but your little more about your distribution models and stuff. And then do a little bit of math, calculus. If you guys are engineers, it's very easy to pick it up at this stage. I mean, vectors, understanding all these structures. This is an example I'm talking about AI. Similarly, it changes from field to field. Do what others are not doing to stand out of the field, because it becomes very difficult to come back to CVs. Even when in my previous company organization, we used to hire for these strategy roles. We used to hire a lot of MBA grads. Very similar profile. Like people would have done, I mean, MBA from good colleges. It could be ISB, Lucknow, whatever institute you're from, and then they would have worked in consulting for a while. Most of them would have done back office consulting, GBS setups, cost, growth, a lot of fancy metrics you see there. Then you would have worked in a high growth startup for a year. And then like it's very difficult to distinguish between two profiles. It's the same set of words be there across all resumes. And then you would just go with the random metric. If the randomness increases, when everybody looks very similar. There's a famous astronaut problem, right? I mean, most people who apply to become an astronaut are all grads of MIT, Stanford, and they all have this fantastic GPA and whatever. So it's just a random people that they just pick up. That's how hiring is also kind of happening right now when you go for these chief of staff kind of roles. So yeah, I think it's about what skill that you know. It's not about what you know, it's about what others don't know. Yeah. Identify that. Just network with people, talk to people, what are they doing? And you figure out that these guys are not upskilling themselves.
Understood.
So you go there, start upskilling yourself on that particular.
Yeah, like we both have almost the same series until you started up. So
True, we both of us have the exact same series, right? It's the name change and very minute details of the thing. But so what would a recruiter look at, right? It becomes very confusing for a recruiter. And then it's just the randomness increases.
Yeah.
Try to reduce the randomness of it.
Understood. So, ma'am, what have you seen, and what have you seen as an observation of how within 1 to 2 years of somebody, if you hire a cohort of people into your firm, like how do they stand out, and what are the kind of hacks these people have? What are the smarts that they really do?
So I have a startup. So for me, the problem solving skills are more important, followed by obviously the technology, how fast you are able to follow the technology. The third thing would be which Gen Z shy away is customer interaction. Gen Z is not ready to do a calling to the customers to get feedbacks. They say this is not our profile, but then how do we get feedback? They're not ready to go to the field and meet people, which is required to build any businesses. If you don't understand the customer right in the field, right where they are, it becomes very difficult to formulate strategy or solve anything. So this is one challenge that I see, that Gen Z wants to be in the office, have a fancy thing, and do everything via technology or via social media, not go to the ground level.
Understood. Yeah, but I can also share one very similar observation that we did. So back in our firm, we wanted to hire a bunch of freshers for QA. Then we looked at it. Okay, we needed some immediate requirements around it. We are based out of HSR, where almost all the startups are. We came across a QA testing startup named Supatest AI, and No, we had to take a decision in there, man. Like should we hire new Gen Z guys and make them do the same manual testing and all those monotonous work, or should we take an AI and probably take an automation engineer to manage the whole process? So it just, as I said, I'm just coming back to the point that many of these new generation people don't want to do the grunt work. Okay, maybe it's good that the AI is coming so that they can do the cool work. Huh.
But not in tier 2, tier 3.
Uh-huh.
AI is more for people who understand. But India being diverse, there are language barriers as well. You go south, unless you interact with people, they will not do WhatsApp or so it's diverse, and we need to be flexible enough to connect to our clients, to our customers.
True. So yeah, I mean, guys, let's not forget that we are still a low income country and any job is a good job. Okay. In India, any job is still a good job, and we have so many themes that played out, and we get into a sort of a cocoon of what sort of jobs is a good job. But in our current context, any job is a great job in India. So that being said, have you made any observations around the same, Sumit?
I like to differ from you. Because I have also observed that Gen Zs are, even though they are project based and they are very much focused on their work, but you told about like customer interactions and all. It's just the reverse in my company as such. I have seen that they are very much interactive with the customers. They are handling it quite well, and lots of them are doing quite good in sales and marketing as well in my group. So even though you might have be having your own observations, but my observations will be slightly different because what they require is the clear-cut guidelines. I mean, with respect to the company's mission, vision, what the company wants to, become, and that needs to be communicated in a very, you can say, a specific way to them. So that is what is missing in many of the companies, and that can be one of the challenges that they might be facing with respect to their attritions. So that is one clarity that needs to be made to them. And if they are there, I mean, if they understand their mission and with respect to their job specifications, they are the ones who will do wonders for you.
I feel if they are like the high profile clients, they're okay going and meeting. But in our business, it's the policy holders who are, sitting somewhere in tier 2, tier 3 cities where they need to make a telephone call to them to understand. There is a problem that, they don't want to do a telecalling to get a feedback on how the app is going. So they would say you hire a telecaller probably, which may not be the right thing because telecaller may not be that qualified to actually maneuver the conversation, because communication is also important when you're interacting. How the customer is behaving and what they are talking, how are you maneuvering, that requires some skills. So there I face a little issue, especially when it calls for telecalling or maybe meeting an insurance advisor. Now this is somewhere in the remote areas, so there they're not.
So maybe that might be the repetitive works that you spoke about. That might be one of the issues that they might be facing. But that is not only relevant to Gen Zs, even the millennials might face the same thing as such. Because some of the works that might be slightly manual in character because they are more technological driven group. So they might be wanting to use those expertise. And that is one of the things that I've observed in Gen Zs. They want to have their skills that needs to be utilized, and they are very much focused on that part.
Interesting. That's that's a great point about Gen Zs there, Sumit. So Harsh, we are all romanticizing Gen Zs a little too much, but where does it go wrong with Gen Zs?
So, see, like Mukul said, you need geometry, vector degrees, point count, cosine similarities, everything, right? This can get you into the job, right? Once you are into the job, then it becomes difficult for them. You got hired, right? Sustainability is the problem for them. You'll start doing all those kind of behaviors, and then the management won't tolerate it, and then they will let you go. Right? Even lot of, when I take leadership lessons and all, people compare with the, what Elon Musk is doing, right? Tesla is doing really well. He, he takes people, he fires them, all these kind of things. But is that sustainable in the long run? That's the question,
Understood.
right? So that is when I talked about soft skills,
Hmm.
right? You might get there. In my organization, I have seen, right? After a certain point, I coach them, right? A lot of fresh graduates I take. I coach them that, you need to, providing the value for the work that this, providing the clarity that is, I think what he was talking about when you said that the manual testing or all, will they be able to do it? What he spoke about is you need to put that vision in their mind, right? Vision is that value system that your company has, right? Right now, you are doing the manual work.
Yeah.
You need to have a clear career path for them.
Hmm.
Right now, you need to understand the product. That is why you're doing this manual work.
Yeah.
After that, we'll be moving to automation and all.
Understood.
Right? Just to understand the workflows, we have put you in the manual testing and all. You need to do the effective storytelling, right? For them, you need to set the right narrative for them. That is what I think he was trying to tell.
Yeah.
I got it.
Interesting.
So this is how it is, and where they are lacking is the people skills only, right? I think where they technically though, they are head on with everything, like they know ये चलेगा सर्च में तो ठीक है कोसाइन सिमिलरिटी यूज करेंगे वो I think they have that understanding वो सब सबके CV पे है भी and they will be able to get the job, but sustainability is the issue.
Understood.
How long they can sustain, how long they can go in the career ladder of that particular company. They might switch, right?
Yeah.
Because उनको समझ में नहीं आएगा.
That's it.
Point is they will not understand that company, that culture. So I think that people is conflict management, negotiation. He talks about all these kind of things. So whatever you guys learn in the management, right? Put that into the implementation over there. Technology wise, you did be technology, you are good at technology. Whereas that management is that only, right? The conflict management part, the negotiation part, that business language, right? You are managing the budget and all. The product manager, if he talks about, I'll spin up 10 instances for executing 10 instances. No, that is not going to work. You need to put that business language into that. That this is the capability I'm building for this company, right? That business language you need to learn.
Understood. That is there. Interesting. It's an interesting observation there. So Mukil, you have been hiring a lot of interns and to do new cutting edge tech. What is going wrong there? Like Harsh mentioned, people get disinterested quickly. Is that something that you're also observing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, we do observe that. And I also feel that we have been a little too, harsh on the Gen Z generation and we're judging them a lot. There's only one parameter that differentiates us from the Gen Z is boundaries. Somebody steps into my boundary, I would keep my mouth shut and I would still do the job. If it's, let's say 9 p.m. and we probably started working at 9 a.m. and then my partner says this has to go out tonight, I would work till 12 a.m. without questioning him or her, and then we would get it done. Gen Zs do not let others step into their boundaries. I think which is a very good thing. This is what they're doing. And since we didn't do it and somebody else is doing it, we kind of not even just to that. One of my intern told me that their dog needs some caring, so he's going to take 2 days leave. I mean, if I had said that to my partner, I would have probably got put in the call itself. But I mean, I couldn't say anything because I mean, we had to be a little empathetic towards them because people weren't empathetic towards us. So I think that's the very important thing. What I've realized is, I mean, I started evolving, right? I can't expect those candidates to change since they have been the way for the past 20 years. So we need to be more empathetic and ensure that we don't step into their boundaries as much as possible. Because retaining talent, I mean, there's most of the work that people are going to do in the initial 5 years is going to be extremely boring and grunt work. That's when you hit the quarter life crisis. They start questioning their entire life choices, and right, they do a lot of these things. And then their FOMO clicks and like everybody else is doing this better than me. I'm probably not doing so great. We can't be responsible for that. The best we could do is to not step into their boundaries. So I provide the work timings for my all my folks. I tell them that I start my day at 10 and I work till like 9, so it's, I mean, 12 p.m. You choose 9 hours between this, right? You work between these hours. I mean, so I just give them that kind of flexibility, which really works out for some candidates.
But yeah, I see that. I see the kind of expectations they have. But being a founder, maybe you can also pitch in. Like, can anything be significantly done in a 9 to 5 setting? Have people anywhere achieved anything great doing only 9 to 5?
I mean, 9 to 5, you know, 9 to 9, you actually do. That's why they say the new 9 to 5 is 996. Work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then you work for 6 days,
Yeah.
which is very brutal. And I mean, when I ask my interns to work that, you know, I feel a little guilty, but at the same time, I'm a founder, so I have to get that work done. That there's a client waiting. For the end of the day, so we have to deliver it. It is a little. I have to be a hypocrite at that particular point. I was probably employee. I used to work. I used to get work from home. That was wonderful, like sitting at home was amazing. But when I hire people, I see a lot of other character issues that morality issues that comes into pictures. Like I think it is like moonlighting and other stuff. You guys might have heard about the famous Soham Kapoor incident, right? How many of you heard about it? Like the very famous Soham Kapoor. So what this guy did,
She knows.
Oh, okay.
He had multiple jobs at the same time and
Exactly.
the startups realized.
So this happened to us as when we hired a lot of candidates, like fresh candidates, very good, excellent at interviews. 1-2 weeks down the lane, we figured out that they were working with multiple other companies as well. So we do remote job. We do work in a remote setting, and it came back in a very hard fit. So yeah.
Got it. Maybe ma'am, you can add on.
So I'm still figuring out with Zen the flexibility. So because we are the customer facing organization, we need to have timings because I can't call the customer at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So we start at 10 and kind of finish by 6:30 because then we have to respect the boundaries of the customers as well. So, and technology front, yes, we can be flexible, but then the entire environment of the office needs to be monitored. The operation team will go ahead and tell me that they are leaving early, they are getting a Saturday off. So that, and the complete balance in the office is still, we are trying to figure out whom to give flexibility and then not hurt the feeling of the other person. So that kind of thing is a challenge. It's a real challenge. Like I can give off to my marketing technology. They can work from home. But then what wrong have ops guys done? We tried doing work from home, but then we realized somebody's mother is shouting from behind, "Khana khalo," and the customer is talking. So it becomes very unprofessional background noise. The bell is ringing and all. So yet to figure out. We are working with Gen Z. Let's see. I mean, we are trying our best to accommodate and adjust to your requirements.
Interesting. So again, coming back to the context of startups meeting, handshaking with Gen Z, Sumit. Where startups are promising a lot of things, ESOPs, or compensation, industry, they say the role is bigger than compensation. The role is going to be great for you. It is going to set you for success. Again, ESOPs, so many blah, 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 blah. But amongst all of this, what is working today? Second is, where are we over promising?
I think compensation is one part wherein Gen Zs I haven't found them too much of demanding as such with respect to the compensation. They have to be very, very transparent in that aspect.
Okay.
All they want is their assignments that has to be clearly communicated and articulated with them. That is very important. And I think Harsh, you spoke about mentorship. Mentorship is one aspect which I think is very, very critical in any startups or so, because they need to be nurtured with respect to their aspirations, and they have got a big talent among themselves, and that needs to be properly explored. So that is one aspect wherein I find that this particular their involvement needs to be more with respect to this. You spoke about the repetitive works and all. That is okay. I mean, interest level seems to be missing, but that I cannot categorize it with respect to any generations. It's a generational shift because the expertise area that they might have heard, they might have been more technologically adept. So that is one aspect wherein they need to be groomed. Yes, we can tell them specifically at a gradual way that this is a time wherein you have to just perform and gradually we will enhance your role. So something like that sort of thing needs to be communicated to them, which is very important for me. Particularly.
Yeah. So that being said, today, like we are the India growth story. It started with people working for one of the states or for some small lala companies, and from there we went to a group of companies, and then into IT services, GCCs, and whatnot. The level of expectation of loyalty and trust that leaders expect from their employees, has that been coming down all the way, or what does loyalty mean to companies today? I'm curious to know.
That's in fact you have caught me in a very wrong position right now because loyalty is one aspect which is a Japanese concept. Particularly if you have been knowing about this automobile industry as a whole, they are very much focusing on that aspect, loyalty. Because the employees who are old in the system, gradually they become very comfortable over there. But performance-wise, it might not be career growth for them. So Gen Zs in particularly needs to be explored or evaluated on the loyalty aspect. That is one aspect which is very critical because there is still a way to go for them because they might not be loyal to you. In terms of if there is any growth aspects, they will be the first one to jump the ship.
Okay.
That is one aspect which I have explored as such, and that is, but I cannot, still I will not categorize it with respect to Gen Zs.
Okay.
I feel generational aspects also.
Okay. How about you, Harsh?
I think they are loyal to themselves. They're not loyal to anyone.
Okay.
Right? And you need to understand it as a leader. I think you need to understand it much better. Right? They will be loyal to themselves. And then how do you prove to them that you are valuable?
Yeah.
Right? They will be always loyal to themselves. They'll respect growth, they'll respect money, they'll respect everything. And as a leader, how do you convince them that I am the person who's adding value to your life? That is the role you need to play, right? You need to put them in a right learning curve. These guys, they are very anxious, right? They have seen layoffs, they have seen everything, right? They will be loyal to themselves. They will not be loyal to any company.
Okay.
Right? Because they know everything. You cannot, explain them that this is a better organization, we will keep you for 10 years, 13 years. We have that loyalty to you. They have seen everything, LinkedIn layoffs, Microsoft layoffs, they are seeing it daily, right? So as a leader, so I have EMs under me, that is what I explained them, they are millennial and they are hiring changes. So this is what I explained to them that, if you want to lead them, every quarter do a review with them. Right? What is that work they are doing? Is it relevant to the industry or not? You need to make sure it is relevant, right? As a tech leader, I keep innovating, I keep working on the things that they might be interested in. And in a way, it also benefits the company, right?
Yeah.
So that is how you need to lead. You need to keep them relevant to the industry. As long as you keeping them relevant to the industry, they know. Like I am getting 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs here. Even if I continue 1 year on this technology or something like this, the next which I take will be of 30 lakhs.
Got it.
Right? So, and at the same time, you need to, coach them really well that this is the career path in next 2 years will be relevant. So there are a lot of anxiety around, insecurity around all these things. So as a leader, you need to be empathetic with them, you need to understand it. and then you need to post them. So
Interesting.
they will always loyal to them. You need to prove the value.
Do you have any observations?
I think it's good thing to be loyal to yourself, right? Because we suffered, we could not change so easily because at our time CVs did matter. That stability was asked when you change. So you have to be in a company despite even if you don't like it for another 3, 4, 5 years. Our promotions would only happen after 5 years. We were eligible then only. So I think it's good thing, and yes, people do leave. You have to keep them relevant, as he said. They're not looking for money, they are passionate, they complete their tasks very fast. It's up to us now to engage them, give them better tasks, see that they are relevant in the industry, see that they are learning. That is what they are looking at. Even if they leave, I think I find them very friendly. They will come back with, suggestions later on also, that ma'am, I saw this thing, this is we can do something like that. So even if they leave you, they are still thinking about you, and they still come with feedback, which is very interesting at times.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, we spoke about loyalty in length,
Mhm.
and maybe Mukil, tell us, it's for the next decade or so. Okay, like many of us may be or may not be there in the workforce, thanks to AI. But anyways, do you see what are those important traits for anybody who's coming into the workforce today? That they have to groom, and they have to develop themselves in, and that makes them always relevant, irrespective of what is coming their way.
Now, still, I will go back to my previous answer on this. It's not to don't focus on any tools or any language. Don't get fixated on it. Learn your fundas. Be very very strong with that. If you need to explain any, I know all that you need to do is feed in an algorithm and you can get a code out of it. But you need to be strong in creating an algorithm. There's a recent post by the CTO of Whisper. So he mentioned that it's been 8 months since he has written any code. But people took it in the wrong way, saying that AI is replacing. But the answer is AI throws out a code he knows to, he's going to make a judgment to call that if this code is right or wrong. A fresher might not be able to do that. So you need to be in that state, you know how things operate in and out. And then you could think about automating it. Another thing I want to add is like there's a lot of fear with AI as well that's going to come, it's coming in. Looking at history, we something back we saw data analytics, we thought that's going to automate a lot of jobs. But all these things do plateau after a point in time. Maybe we are talking about Gen AI, we're not even in the AI world. This will plateau in a period.
Okay.
Maybe when AGI kicks in, we're all afraid of AGI, it's going to replace a lot of people. That will also plateau after some time. So one thing that's never going to change is your fundamental, how structured is your thinking. Somebody face a problem, how are you going to break it down? The same consulting case framework, I'm pretty sure guys have done that. You start looking at what is you break it into, let's say profitability is going down, you look at it, revenue and then cost, then you go in that particular framework. I think that structured thinking is extremely crucial.
First principles.
Exactly, first principle thinking is extremely crucial. How do you break down any problem? How do you break down any? It could be a code, it could be some business problem, it could be some communication problem. How do you break it down is all that matters, and then you break it into small tasks and then you're able to address it. AI cannot do that. Just always remember that Gen AI is something called a word predictor. So if you write an SOP, it can make it fancier, it can fix the grammars and that, but you cannot ask it to be end-to-end creative. So your creativity is extremely crucial. Yesterday we were discussing about color palettes. AI cannot choose which color for what. Basis past data, it might tell you a bottle with a red and let's say a white text is one of our bottle. But something more creative, you still have to come up with. So your creativity and your first principle thinking is very, very crucial. And then you can still work on any sector. You guys need to tag on to a particular sector and you keep going deep into it. So that's what separates consultants from the rest of the people. Because when you're working in consulting, you build on these things. That's what you work on a lot of cases, a lot of problems. Your first principle thinking gets much stronger. You could have worked on various problems. To be some insurance sector on day one, then probably move to taking day two, and then suddenly you're in FMCG. But that's not going to change. They say that you always follow the money, so you understand the entire business. That basic understanding is still enough. So later you jump into some totally new sector, you are able to cope up with it. That's the key differentiator is what I guess. That's going to set one set of people from the rest of.
Understood. I mean, you answered that really well from a tech founder perspective, but Sumit, maybe from a HR, as somebody who practices HR, and when you are going to do talent acquisitions for the next decade or so, like what is it that what traits are still relevant and what you would be looking for? And from your area of expertise in manufacturing and from a HR point of view.
Right. So I will slightly take it on a different route. How many of you have watched Australian Open yesterday? Are you even aware you follow tennis? So there were three Zensis. In fact, listen. There were three Zensis playing in the semifinals. One of the Zensi won, other one lost, and he lost against a millionaire. So you know, the guy who won, Alcaraz, he's a Zensi. The guy who lost was Jack Sinner against Djokovic. Djokovic is a millionaire, of course. That sums up everything. My answer lies over here. So you can say that Zenzi have got a lots of, in fact, expertise in their own fields. They are very talented, but they also have to learn the discipline. So with respect to that tennis game, I thought that that's a perfect example. How one, with respect to his agility, his talent, he managed to win despite being down in the fifth set or so. Alcaraz, I'm talking about him. While the other one was supremely talented, Jack Sinner, who was the favorite to win the Australian Open. He was the defending champion, in fact.
Yeah.
He took it slightly casually against Djokovic. And even though Djokovic is at the end of his career, I don't know whether you follow tennis or not, but what I wanted to put before you that Zenzis are got the talent which needs to be nurtured by the others, but at the same time they have to discipline. So that is very important from my perspective. And that's why I want to know, I want to emphasize over here that you people have got a great future ahead of you. You have to, in fact, take it to a next level. You have to completely reskill yourself. Even upskilling also is required for you. So that is one of the important aspects that I wanted to highlight today.
Awesome. Do you have any comments on that?
For me, I look at communication skills. So we have to come out of the virtual world and interact with human, understand their personal problems, understand what office is facing, and try to solve for the problems. You have the work problems also to be solved, but then there are human problems that needs to be solved. So communication is one thing which is required from Gen Z.
Indeed. Awesome. So how about you?
I'm very much aligned on Shilpa's point. So, see, when you join as a techie or a product manager, you might be very good. And obviously, you are in IIM, right? Or from my almost always in the hungry, but the 100% we also know he is pass hungry. Then when he joins the organization, how does he collaborate with the stakeholders, with the team? And that is what makes the difference, right?
Got it.
So communication, like you said, I would say more of a collaboration kind of thing. And then humanizing that connect, right? You need to connect, because obviously you have to work with people, right? You need to connect with the humans. Even I usually what I prefer is the leadership style, right? I'll do 60% of the talking, right, with everyone. That is when you understand their needs. That is when you understand everything. So that humanizing that connect is very important for Gen Zs as well, right? Ultimately, you have to, alone you will not be able to survive in a company. You have to go to someone, you have to, he needs to, like another part of human nature is politics, right?
Yeah.
You cannot take it anywhere. So, I mean, in no time, you will be gone on that company.
True. So I guess we covered many aspects today, and probably we can quickly go for some 60 seconds of closing comments from all of you. And then do we have time? Like we want to have a quick Q&A session as well. We have enough time, right? Awesome. Yeah, maybe we can start with Sumit.
Yes, one of the important aspects that Harsh just spoke about was the office politics. So that is there, and Gen Zs have to, in fact, be slightly prepared for that. I feel that many of us have been through, we have faced all this office politics and all. But Gen Zs are the ones who will have to be guided in those environment, complex environment. That's why I spoke about VUCA. So this is something which, that one area where they have got a challenge, but they will adapt. I have got a feeling that they can adapt also.
Understood.
I'll say I'm very happy to have Gen Z in the organization. We have to adopt to you. You are much ahead of us. So we are working on that part.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, well, I can just add on to what Ma'am just said. So I'm pretty sure anybody here born before 98, I mean, so all of you are Gen Z, right? So yes, be yourself, it's okay. Companies need to change, so give us a little time to adopt to the new ways of working. We need to do a culture transformation, but there are a lot of other issues that have to make that transformation. So don't be harsh on us. When we transform and we adjust to more new minds. So I mean, it's very important to ensure that no one steps into your boundaries and I mean your limits. If anybody does that, it's very important that you need to call it out. Do not change their attitude. At the same time, if any company you're managing a very senior 50-year-old or some 60-year-old person who's going to interact with you in that aspect, give them some time to change. You maybe don't react too harshly, just maybe subtly you put it out. And then if this is over, then you might have to call it out. But it's just amount of things treat us a little less harshly.
How come the conversation became more of confessions now? I really don't know. We flew down for that.
Now they are
Started as
going to
a-
join the organization.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice.
So this concludes the state of affairs today. But anyways, Harsh.
So yeah, I'm very much aligned on this thing. And initially, I also said that culture is what it defines as the smell of a place. Right? They can sense that smell.
Mm.
Right? Whenever they join the company, they can sense it. I think they'll quit long before you realize.
Understood.
Right? So, and to the I think they need to understand, like they need to think strategically. Don't be impatient and work. A lot of time, what happens is, even when I'm communicating with the other stakeholders. So at leadership level, you need to get a lot of things done through influence and all those kind of things. But if you think strategically, right, you will get a lot of patience in yourself, right? So a lot of time what happens is you think that this guy is not moving these things, right? इसको इतना समझा रहा हूँ समझ में नहीं आ रहा. Maybe the issue is with you, right? You need to make him understand in a different language. So you guys are management students. I mean, life storytelling, right? Conflict management, negotiation skills. You'll be able to navigate everything.
Got it. Yeah, even when I look at it, maybe it's my bias, based on where the kind of workforce where I work and all. I am a little more bearish about whole job market, how the future of work is going to look like. And with people like Elon Musk saying, we need to have universal abundance, do we even have to work and all those things? That is the kind of aspects with which I see the world today, because there are these truly smart people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk and Sam Altman saying, we want to build companies with 0 employees. Okay, so I know I know myself well, and I know the place where I work well, but I am really bullish on these guys that they will make something like that happen where even people need not have to work. So that being said, yes, it's a very challenging environment. A lot more. I have a bearish bias on work, because I have been clearly seeing that people lose work, even in who had great titles in reputed GCCs, who lost work and then in 37, they're 37 and 36, They lose and then they are on a job search for the next 2 years, 3 years. Doesn't happen. So I'm a lot more bearish, but then I am very sure that when we have many of these fundamental traits that you all discussed, if we have that right, we will be able to navigate the future further. Is my feeling. Yeah. And we can open the floor for questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I saw him first.
Firstly, we all are very privileged to them. And
Can you be a little more audible?
Pass the number.
pass the mic. So we are all are very privileged to have you on campus, and we all are enlightened to hear your experience. So the overall the discussions we have called a word called moonlighting. So it's becoming normal norm that people Gen Zs are very becoming efficient at the same time they used to do different works, usually going to upskill them at the night time, which I have done in my experience. What do you think in a startup perspective? Is it they should fight for it or should design for it?
I'll take it up.
Okay.
I'll talk about the moonlighting point. So let me bring it. I'll tell you the forget the ethical angle here, but the legal issue. I mean, most companies do sign a huge NDA with the client stating that these are the list of things I wouldn't do, the company wouldn't do, and here are the things my employees wouldn't do. And if let's say it's found that one of my employees moonlighting, it's the company which is a huge risk with respect to the client. So more about like if it's a good or a bad thing, it's becomes a legal issue for most companies. And it is really good when you have to moonlight so you get extra money and everything. But let's be little honest here, when you guys are working from 9 to you don't work 9 to 6, you obviously do work from 9 to 7 or 9 to 8. You do face a lot of burnout, you're pretty much tired. Then you go back on weekends and you do some other kind of job, you get extremely burned out. On our initial few weeks, it will be cool, but then the burnout becomes very high. Then it'll affect your actual work. So, I mean, these are the two big pain points. So, let's say if you're not able to, let's say your company doesn't have an NDA and they're super chill, probably you're working in a health tech company and then you're helping an FMCG brand, let's say something around that. And if your employees are aware about it, that's what you're doing, and also doesn't cause that burnout, I'm pretty sure it's something that you should fight for and get it done. But if it's something around that, most cases you would be specialized in a particular sector, so you work with another client in the same sector, that becomes a legal issue. So yeah, I think that's the last part.
Okay. Anyone else in the panel want to take that question?
So what he's trying to ask is, I think he's asking whether it's the design issue, right? Let's say company allows you to do that, right? Then you need to find the right balance. Company wouldn't allow you to, actually. You need to find that timings. You need to, reevaluate yourself. Like, for this money, extra money that I'm earning, what will I sacrifice? It's all about the, in life also, it's all about the balance. Find the right balance. So that is very important. And like he said, don't get into any legal troubles and all. Right? So if your company is still there, I've seen people working in very good companies and they are doing this. Right? They have time there, so they do this. So I think it's all about the right balance. You need to design it right. But then again, don't get into any legal troubles because there is a lot of governance which is there in a company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I mean, I have to double click on the legal aspects. Okay. So we are all, I guess, almost there. India 1, India 2. We all have very close cocoons. We live in a small bubble within India, and never ever, you should always pray that you never get into a negotiation with the Indian authorities, especially the government authorities, be it the police, be it the judicial system. Never, and then they will suck the life out of you. So be very careful with how you navigate your career that way. Okay, I saw one. Yeah. So,
Well, thank you for coming to our campus, sir.
thank you.
And my point is that you guys talk about Gen Z switching jobs and not sticking to one place, which is not the case with millennials or maybe the generation above that. I believe that it has a lot to do with the layoffs that have been happening quite recently. And so my question is that how do you keep your teams motivated when the headlines are like these layoffs and everything around that, because it affects a lot on the mental health of the Gen Z, and it actually raises the anxiety and stress levels of us.
Anyone?
See, and from a startup, so in startup ecosystem, anxiety will always be there. There will be challenges. So you have to hold. I mean, anxiety is something that you'll have to, in a job, there will always be there. You will have to learn and adopt. The clarity from the company side is that whatever is happening is clear and transparent to the employees. They know. There may be specific challenge that, yes, the fund is drying, say, for example, in a startup, we may have 3 months of a runtime. Then you have to be with us, and not leave. So what is happening? A little bit of anxiety, and then, people start to leave, especially the Gen Z. So that loyalty part has to be there. We are there, we will raise, but have some, hold on. So that layoff is happening, but you should not be afraid of layoff. You should trust yourself and be in the process for some time.
I would also
Oh,
like to take this.
yes, please.
Very important aspect that it does not know. So what I want to know is that yes, psychological effect is there with respect to the layoffs happening in many of the IT sectors. But at the same time, Gen Zs are the ones who can reskill themselves or upskill themselves. So they are the ones who can adapt very fast. And from the startup point of view, I feel that they have to focus on the mental health of the employees as well. That is very, very important. In fact, many of the companies have adopted some good systems. So that is one area where, as a founder or as a startup also, the promoters have to take care of those aspects.
Very important.
So, what I think is like he mentioned about how do you keep them engaged, right? How do you make sure that So, most important thing is that you need to keep them living apart. So, what is it that you are doing in your organization that is going to help this guy? Right? So, that brings to the most, very important part of leadership, that is authentic leadership. As a person, right? First thing, I need to, recognize that connect. As a person, as a leader, how would I help him? Right? So, that is the most important thing that you need to think, right? He won't leave you. People don't leave companies, they leave bad managers, right? If you are a good manager, then this guy will stay. And if you make sure that he stays relevant to the market, he will stay.
Understood. Okay. I saw one, and yeah. So how many more questions can we take? 2, 3. Okay. You, and I guess you also raised your hand. Same question. Oh, one more? Okay.
Let's see.
We'll take all these 3. Okay. Four of them. Yeah. Quick.
So building on to Ishan's story, I would like to ask that loyalty, when you talk about loyalty, we agree, we should agree that loyalty is based on the principle of reciprocity. So when the companies or the brands, they demand loyalty from their employees, or startup demand loyalty from their employees to hold on with them when the times are hard. So the Gen Zs also need that stability when it comes to when times are hard in the employment role. So when we, like Ishan made the point that when we see that big brands are laying off 60,000 people, or small startups are hiring fast and then laying off fast. So that reciprocity is not something that we see. So is there a gap between the expectations that the companies hold with their employees and the expectations they expect employees hold with them?
Let me do that. I mean, I think it is total suits loyalty is a two-way street. So yeah, I mean, if companies aren't being loyal, and in my first job, which was in consulting, my role was just to do cost transformation. That's a glamorous term. The actual job is hiring employees for other companies. So it's pretty much open to the same job. So for companies, employees are a cost center. They're not a part of the revenue center. It's a product, and maybe the frontline sales guys might also be a revenue aspect, but rest of everybody is nothing but a cost center. So what you do with cost, you obviously try to reduce cost. And from a CFO's point of view, that's the only thing that they look at day in and out. How do you reduce? Now it's all about tech talent. When analytics and other things kicked in, it was all about automating or marketing, HR and finance, but now it's all about tech, which can necessarily trying to automate. So I mean, give you one word answer, yes, if companies are not being loyal, you always need to be prepared, always keep your CVs updated. Every month, how companies have a monthly review, have a monthly CV update, and probably if companies are all going to lay off, I mean, you get the vibe with working with the company. One thing that which I did with my employees, I offered them an ESOPs. Not ESOPs, I offer them equity directly, saying that you take 0.5%. I know it's a difficult time, you're going to take a pay cut. You take this extra equity. Once things go back, whatever you do, you get a full privilege. A lot of companies, even if they offer the equity, if the company goes bust, you're kind of the equity has no value. So that's a risk that you have to take. If you're willing to take that risk, it works out. If not, always have a CV prepared. Like in the same placement committees format. Any new project, you keep adding it to the CV. Keep watching the reviews and everything. That's kind of the easier way to put it out.
Understood. And I guess I can add on to what Mukil also said, like on consulting, that was one time exercise of cost transformation. But in internal strategy, reducing cost is a daily exercise. You look at the MIS every day to see what is happening in all the cost centers, across functions, support, product engineering, everywhere. So when that happens, okay, we obviously see that there are many functions which may have overheads that are far higher than what is ideal, so that we still make some contribution margins across all the sales we do. And that means we still hire a lot of freshers, train them under bigger overheads, and then we keep churning the team all the time. So it's an everyday exercise of cost transformations these days. It's very difficult, monetary environment outside for all the companies today. And we have to be all very careful. Yeah, many of us are all guilty of doing it, but then when you move up the ladder, this part and parcel of your KRAs. And yeah, you had a question.
I would like to ask
Sure.
a little more clarity on the same topic. Like we build on the aspect that employees are cost for the company. Then we look back and we see brands like Tata who have earned the loyalty of their employees and build their brand on that basis. If we see the 9/11 case, Mr. Tata not only stood right outside the Taj Hotel, he also posed the incident. He showed loyalty to his employees and promised salaries to the spouses, education to the children. I understand that not all startups can do that level of contribution. But but the psychological contribution that they can do to the employees, that I believe could also have a long-ranging impact on the loyalty that the Gen Z can show to this company. Because loyalty is not only monetary, it can also be psychological, like Ishan said. So my next question would be, are we shifting our focus from are we shifting the parameters of our leadership from loyalty based to result based? So are leaders now just on the results they show or the loyalty there?
You want to pick it up? I can also add.
I can just want to add.
So, initially when I spoke about that, I gave an example of Tesla. That is the difference between the two companies, right? Tata is being in business for many years, right? And from the leadership viewpoint that I see, if Elon Musk keeps doing whatever he's doing, I think he won't be able to build a company like Tata, right? So leaders needs to understand this. We were actually pointed out in the right way if they are building any startup or anything. From the day one, you need to understand this, right? Whatever you are doing, is it sustainable or not? Whatever you are doing to the people, is that sustainable? And so the first question as well, I mean, I can give you a tip on navigating that. Keep talking to your managers, keep getting the feedback. You could make some sense of where the company is heading. You will be well prepared.
I will also add here, the times are very hard for you guys. Unlike Tata, which was a stable environment, the AI, the way it is taking up, the jobs are becoming redundant very faster. Now telecalling was a big business, suddenly everything is being taken away by AI. So in the organization also when we hire for manual work and suddenly within, 2 months, 3 months, something or the other tool comes in, which obviously hits the job level. So you have to continuously update yourself and be ready. This time is very hard for you guys, so we understand that.
Yeah. See, I can also add a couple of points there. All the founders start to, their end is to always become a one Tata one day. I mean, to
Yeah.
get the, like, as you move up the Maslow's hierarchy, companies also coming along with you. Then you get to a point where you are like, okay, now I can be philanthropic, I can take care of my employees. But in a clear startup context today, it is very difficult to navigate the kind of environment we have externally. And at the same time, Tata's also laid off. TCS laid off 2 to 4% of their employees, and even they are not, they are not, safe when it comes to looking at their employees. Okay, so I feel that the environments are a lot more changed. All those value system and all those that we keep speaking in the larger environment, it has subsided a lot more today, and that's the reality. Yeah.
Let's go on. She has a question. Let's finish.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Side.
Talked a lot about what companies are doing for us and can't do for us and how they're changing. So I want to ask from our perspective that how do we create value the limited time that we have? Let's say we go for internships now, we have barely 2-3 months, and of that, let's say 2 weeks just gets into like adapting to the company, understanding the culture, the rules, then the daily work that we have to do. And even when we get hired, mostly 1 month goes into training, onboarding, and everything. And then we, like you said, the initial days are just grunt work, and in that, which grunt work is replaceable. And in that environment and also deliverables, how do we create value that makes us irreplaceable?
Yeah, Mukil is hiring, so yeah, tell us.
I'll just answer from summer internship point of view, because I used to hire summer interns in my previous consulting also was more structured there. As a founder, what we do right now is more chaotic. The expectations in a summer internship, the 8-week period, is not to do a lot of value or wow the leadership. It's first 1 week is onboarding, last week is all presentation. You work on that final presentation that you want to show your partner or your senior folks. It's about how good of a rapport that you can build with people. The reason why companies hire for summer interns is to judge you earlier, get better, exposure to candidates, and then they could decide if you go full time or not. A lot of companies don't completely rely on summer interns. It's the expectations are to create value. It's mainly to check your culture aspect. How do you perform under pressure? Do you handle pressure? And it's more of a test. When I I did my summer interns with EY, the project was too fancy to build some, we decided on some ERP and everything. Later, I got to know that the project was done a few months back. They already delivered to the client. They just given an old project to check how we are able to perform. So it's all about how kind of rapport that you can build with. So don't focus on value during a summer internship. A lot of people get a little deviated there. Focus on what kind of communications, rapport that you can build with media seniors. Generally, if an associate, senior associate has the gives a very good feedback to the partners later. So build that rapport, and if any time you put under a lot of pressure, don't crumble. Just be able to handle that pressure is all that they look for. It's like a culture fitment. Look for your immediate seniors and see what they are doing. Be able to, make them with that work.
In fact, I'd like to add on this point. You don't need to worry about creating value. You are there, you should focus on your skilling and reskilling. Companies will create value for you. Organizations, it's their responsibility, I'm telling you. They are having that expectations when they hire you. They will have to create a career progression for you. So you please don't worry about that aspect. You should worry about, in fact, not worry, you should continuously upgrade yourself. That is the thing that you should focus on.
Afternoon. It's been a wonderful conversation. I personally were to relate to Gen Zs, how we were hesitant to talk to customer, but we are okay with the clients. But my question is specifically to Mukil, as he has mentioned, that we need a proper primary thinking, how the problem is, breakdown of the problem. And what I want to put forward is that we are using AI right now, but our thinking has decreased to some extent, because yesterday itself, I was solving the test and my roommate was also doing the same. I was trying so that I can use my mind in the test so that I can upskill myself and increase my thinking power. But at the same time, he was using AI to solve the same problem. And when I was taking much time, he was telling me that are you stupid or something. So there comes a paradox, because when we are using AI for even a smaller things, I am thinking some way, but I know that AI is there to demean myself. That yeah, these are the problems that I can think in a better way. So I'm hesitant to use the AI, right? While at the same time, when I am using the AI, my thinking power has decreased, is decreasing, step by step. So what can we do in this situation?
Yeah, I think the term is AI slop, that's the trending term right now. You go into AI and you're too much dependent on AI, unable to have a write a written message to someone, but everything. But it is a paradox that we're all stuck in. Me and my co-founder, we code, we were trying to solve the problem. It took us more than 2 days. We hired an intern who did it in like half an hour, saying that this AI has this feature, we didn't even know to do that. Visual reasoning models, we didn't know if they could do some kind of task. So I think if your outcome is about speed, you have to deliver a task within a very short span of time. Use AI as much as possible. It is very important. But once you use the AI model, you question how did AI come up with this answer, right? What could be the training data for it? What could be the the backend, how do you think it probably work? So it's use AI. Don't shy away from AI. Because a lot of people who probably would use a lot of AI models and explore these aspects, and they'll be much ahead of you in terms of tasks and deliverables that they're supposed to do. But from a thinking point of view, right, when you are supposed to, let's say, read news, pick up a paper like Mint or let's say Economic Times, and you do go through it, don't ask AI to summarize that. You'll lose on a lot of points. So that's when you try to learn. So when you try to learn, don't go to that summary point, I'm going to do that in short kind of an approach to consume knowledge. Go more detailed, try to understand these things. So short answer is use AI. You cannot stop using AI. That's what even I work with K-12 schools as well. That's what happens. Like every student is so much into AI, and everybody does all their basic particular problems with AI. Everybody solves all their essays with AI. It's our teacher's duty to adopt. So you guys continue using AI. It's the other person's duty to change how they can evaluate you and everything else. So and at the same time, when you're using an AI model, understand why it's doing stuff. Why is it kind of a good system, also you judge who this out to be better. Earlier what we used to do was like when ChatGPT came in, we took a raw mail that I probably would compose and put it in AI saying that make it fancier. I paste it out. Now you get that same email and then you read that email and see what could be better. How do you change, how do you reorder points. There are some limitations with AI. When you are using it very often, you will figure it out. Then it's about you improving on AI. So you will be the tech stack on top of AI. So don't place the AI on top of you. So you'll be the final output. You see the content and then you share it. So that's what you have to do.
I think he has made a very valid point. And you need to think in terms of like you spoke about client intention, right? So even if you're doing client intention, think in terms of it, right? What if I do sentiment analysis of my call? How would an AI help me in this? Right? You need to think on those stuff. Right? This is how the market is changing. Like everyone is replacing the labor cost. Right? So, and that is why these wars are happening all around. It's all about labor. Right? Industrialization, everything is changing, manufacturing is changing. And so you need to think a lot in terms of even if you are doing a call. That is when you will find it interesting as well, right? You think in terms of technology, like if an AI would have done this, if AI would have done a sentiment analysis of my call, what are the factors he would have taken into account? Right? Did I read him? Was my sentiment positive or negative? Right? So, I mean, you need to start thinking in terms of technology. Even if he's using AI, you need to think like what AI might be doing for him.
Interesting. Yeah, we had, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You see.
Very good afternoon. Thank you so much for this immensely educational talk that you had. My question is that why is leaving early looked down as lack of commitment rather than it should be looked at as adaptability? Because if I am an employee of your firm and I understand that I am not able to add any value, then leaving early would be better than staying there for 1 year and then HR coming to me that, okay, we are firing you. So if there is no mutual loyalty, how should an employee-employer relationship look like? So that I can trust you as an employee and I should be able to be there, like, okay, even if I'm not able to work right now, there might be certain other things that I can add value.
Okay. Whom do you want to answer?
Harsh can answer because he talked about the intern leaving a home.
Yeah, so I'm very much of it. If you're not adding value, then so from a leader perspective, how I think is how do I make them stretch? Right? Even if they are doing it from 9 to 5. Like what is it that adds value to their life? How do I prove that work is very valuable? This piece of work is very valuable for them so that they feel that this is valuable for them and then they stretch. I mean, you are not seeing that it's not valuable, you will leave. But as a leader, right, where I face problem, that is the problem. I think he can answer it better because coming from HR background, where I find this as a problem, right? Me as a technology leader, I see a lot of Gen Zs, they are very vocal. Like, sir, इसमें कुछ करने को बचा ही नहीं है, मैं जाना चाहता हूँ, right? But how do I influence the HR department? They have created those policies. How do I influence them to change it according to whatever? Then that is a valid point, right? I think I'll be needing his guidance on this. How can I convince the HR department that they need that flexibility? If their work is done, let them go. Why keep them in office? Even I am not able to understand.
So very well. In fact, I agree with you, Harsh. And in my first interaction only, I told you that now the workplace is evolving. So gone are the days of the traditional works, like from 9 to 5 or from 9 to 9 or whatever. 9 to 9 can be a deadline, but 9 to 5 was a traditional workplace. So if you finish the work, the organizations will have to evolve. As you are evolving, the organizations are also evolving. They will be changing their practices very well or soon. As I spoke about the labor codes as well. Labor codes are something which is into that aspect, looking into that aspect as well. So you shouldn't worry about you finishing the work because you are project based. You are working deadline specific, or even if you are completing your work before the time, you are free to move out. But many organizations who are following the traditional work practices, they will have to adopt. That is one area where there's a gray area. In fact, I can tell you from the HR perspective also, I have been facing these issues. Many of the employees are to me as such, सर वो आपने ये क्या बना दिया है, हमारा तो सारा काम तो हो चुका है, हम तो पहले भी जा सकते हैं. And lots of issues coming up to me. So I discuss with the promoters, I discuss with the management that gradually we will have to have an understanding. Yes, discipline is one thing which is required, but at the same time, some leverage with respect to the flexible work timing or the flexible work practices that needs to be evolved. So as an organization, we are working to that aspect, and many of the organizations will be changing as per the demands as such.
Yeah, I can also add on some based on my experience that of see the essentially why many of these people seek loyalty today. Like I have worked with CTOs as well as chairmen. So all they want is to reduce the mental load that they want, that they have every day. Okay, it's a because they have to solve bunch of dozens and hundreds of problems every day, and they want some reliable person who would solve it for them with a reasonable quality, and then they add on top of it, and then they want like that is how every day for a firm operates. So that is why something at a management level, which is a lot more relevant for you guys, for in the management side, at least loyalty is something that goes a long way. Okay, you have a point, man? So we can take the last question.
My question to you is that as Gen Z, we tend to explore and learn multiple skills simultaneously. But often at workplace happens is that they will use depth and mastery to one skill. So how this can backfire us and how we can balance this depth and depth practice.
That you have to balance. I mean, we may need one skill or maybe two skills from you at the workplace, but as we all are in this agreement that you have to keep learning newer skills, so that should not stop, and that should not worry you whether the organization values or not. It is up to you to skill yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, we have come to the end and it's almost sharp, right? All good? Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, team. Thank you so much, everyone, for finding time today. Thank you so much to the panelists for finding time over a weekend. Yeah.
I would like to thank the if we talk out to the place farmers, I know how difficult it is to handle like that, manage placing your batch, and then placing yourself and then hosting an event of this sort is not easy. So kudos to you guys. You can do a great job.
As we come to the close of Neev 2026 Chapter 2, the Startup Conclave at IIM Kashipur, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished panelists and moderator for a truly enriching discussion.
Today's conversation reinforced a powerful truth. Talent is the real mode for startups. Purpose matters more than perks. Continuous learning is essential, and empowering people is the key to sustainable growth. Our panelists brought diverse perspectives spanning AI innovation, technology scaling, HR strategy, and consumer-first leadership, offering valuable insights into building future-ready organizations.
Mr. Harsh Kumar Sarohi, Senior Vice President of Technology at TradeIndia, highlighted that the clarity of vision, strong values, mentorship, and storytelling matter far more than compensation in retaining Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and that nurturing critical soft skills is also a key. Mr. Mukil Vannan, founder of Kplor, emphasized that while AI has covered technical barriers, growth depends on communication, negotiation, quantifiable impact, and choosing the right time and role for an organized type.
Shilpa Arora, co-founder and COO of Insurance Samadhan, spoke about the importance of flexibility, work-life balance, and real customer interaction, noting that the new generation is planned, thoughtful, and eager to learn from real-world challenges. Mr. Sumer Singh, Head of Human Resources at EPAC Renewable Limited, shared that today's talent excels in analytics, adaptability, and people interaction, and stressed the need to move beyond rigid work structures by offering flexibility, repetition, and clear guidelines. We also extend our sincere thanks to Mr. Gokul Ramanan Radhakrishnan, proud alumnus of IIM Kashipur, for moderating the session with clarity and enthusiasm, enabling a thoughtful and engaging exchange of ideas. Thank you to all our speakers and participants for making Neev 2026 Chapter 2 a meaningful and impactful conversation.
We would now like to invite Professor Samadhan to address the gathering.
We can make it work. We can go back.
Yeah. We are very delighted during this Neev Conclave. Our students have been very fortunate to hear from some of the eminent industry experts about this Gen Z talent acquisition and talent retention. So, and this is very relevant because as all of us listen for last 2 hours or so, that world is changing very fast. It's a fast changing environment, macro business environment, and where as all of us are well aware that there is a lot of turbulence is there at the macro business environment. So it has been, I'm sure it has been a lot of value has been added during today's discussion for our students who are working very hard, and but they have also their concerns about their future prospects, etc. And I'm sure they will find a lot of value, lot of very interesting insights they must have heard in last 2 hours from the industry experts about this talent acquisition and retention and how to really make themselves very relevant in a fast changing industry and corporate environment, and how to really utilize their technological skills and analytical ability which our students already have, but how they can really improve and nurture very consciously their people skills, basically customer centricity, how they can remain very customer centric in their mind, so that they can prove to be very important asset to their organization when they join any organization for whatever tenure that they remain with respective organization, they can really contribute very significantly to the respective organization. And we heard a lot of very interesting insights and valuable thoughts that in today's fast changing business environment, how corporates and employers also need to really adapt, need to really keep the concerns of the young generation, our students in mind, and how they can be little bit flexible, adaptive, at the same time demanding all the work which our students are very much capable of. With this, I will end. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our eminent experts, and thanks to all the students and the student committees, etc. Thanks to Professor Deepak Verma, chair placement. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
As a token of appreciation, we would now like to felicitate our esteemed panelist and moderator with a small memento of gratitude. We would like to request Professor Deepak, Chair of Placements, to present a token of gratitude. We would now like to request Professor Samadhan, Chair, to present a token of gratitude to Harsh Kumar Sarohi, sir.
I'd like to request Professor Deepak, Chair of Placements, to present a token of gratitude to Shilpa Arora.
We would like to request Professor Samadhan to present a token of gratitude to Sumit Singh, sir.
We would like to request Professor Deepak, Chair of Placements, to present a token of gratitude to moderator Gopal Ramanan Radhakrishnan sir.
Special thank you once again to all our panelists and moderator for taking the time to share their knowledge and experiences with us. We also extend our sincere appreciation to director, faculty, placement committee, and every participant who made this conclave possible.
We hope Neev continues to serve as a platform for learning, collaboration, and inspiration, helping all of us contribute meaningfully to India's growing startup ecosystem. Thank you once again for being a part of Neev 2026. Have a wonderful day ahead, and we'll click a quick photo together. That works.
Guys, please come to the center so you'll be captured. Pressing MPRC to please take.
Sir, please.